Alright, we're back again with yet another Toastify video. He uploaded a video on McClung, and this was drama that I really was invested in earlier this year. It was actually, like, among the first drama. To my recollection of it, McClung pretty much was like... He was pretty much watching Denki Jabo and then, like, made, like, a hit piece on Denki Jabo with that other person named Cataclysm. And they kind of, like, Cataclysm and McClung kind of just strike me as people who got audience captured in, like, spheres that do hyper virtue signaling. They're in, like, the super far left spaces that virtue signal about literally everything, right? I'm not talking about normal left-leaning people, which, generally speaking, I would put myself in. I try to. I'm talking about really far left spaces. They'll find, like, one thing that they don't like about somebody, and then they'll stop associating with that person just because of one singular thing they don't like about that person. And that, to me, is fucking crazy. That's purity testing. I think that's a massive problem that a lot of far left spaces have. Now, I haven't really been as critical of it recently, and the reason why I haven't been as critical of it is because the right has the dominant narrative currently. And, you know, I think it's, like, more worth it to criticize, you know, people like Asmongold, who contributes heavily to the nasty culture war that we have against, like, you know, with right-wing politics and, like, just everything that's going on. But, yeah, I think we are gonna watch this video on McClung, because there's quite a lot of interesting stuff to talk about.
As a drama creator, I think it's fair to say this isn't the easiest path online. Plenty of people go into gaming, vlogs, or whatever else, and those communities usually coexist pretty peacefully.
Well, there's a couple of things, right? If you're talking about how the drama space isn't easy to coexist in because of how toxic some of the spheres can get, then I would agree with that statement. It depends what you mean by that, though. If you're existing, like, within the commentary spheres, then yes, it is difficult to exist, because I notice a huge pattern in a lot of commentary channels where they will eat their own a lot. There's a lot of infighting that goes on inevitably. Like, it happened with Boblax. Not to say that Boblax is, like, perfect. Definitely Boblax has done some things that I think are worthy of criticism. But I don't think Boblax is, like, a horrible person or a terrible person. And, like, people still make fun of Boblax. And then now they're doing it with that Lyrics person, Liam Donovan, because Lyrics just doesn't want to do commentary anymore. And then they decided to, like, become more queer and, like, change their content to, like, music. But suddenly the commentary community didn't take a liking to that. Now everybody's just making fun of Lyrics. It's like, I don't know. I get such weird vibes from the commentary community. It's like, it gets so terminally online and toxic in those spheres. But if you're talking about it not being easy to exist in regards to getting out there, I disagree heavily with that. I disagree, and the reason I disagree is drama is fairly easy to get yourself out with. You just gotta get takes, and honestly, a part of it is just being lucky. Like, it doesn't really require that much effort. You just have to, like, it's kind of a right place, right time, and then also getting, like, short-form content out there to really put yourself out there.
Drama, though, is a different game entirely. It's a cutthroat industry. Your whole channel depends on talking about the downfall of others, and if you get anything majorly wrong, the community will tear you apart.
Well, that's not entirely true. I think it's more like you talk about drama that's happening and then you give, like, a reasonable take. If you're reasonable about takes like Papa Gut is, it's not always about the downfall of people. You know, just be proportionate. You don't have to rely on, like, people's downfalls. You just have to, like, talk about drama and then give a take on it. And whether you like it, you think it's stupid, or if you think that the criticism is justified, whatever the case is, like, you don't necessarily have to prey on people's downfall to make content.
This kind of scrutiny is exactly what hit McClung, a drama creator who rose fast and fell even faster. In 2024, he had one of his best years ever, growing to over 300,000 subscribers, but a disastrous attempt to expose another creator brought everything crashing down.
Yeah, it was the Denki Jabo situation. I'll fill you guys in. I know Toastify is going to go into it a little more in this video, but, like, with the Denki Jabo situation, really what happened was Denki Jabo was I'm Alex's editor, I think formerly, but Denki Jabo still followed I'm Alex on Instagram, and I guess that was enough for McClung to make a large theater kid hit piece on Denki Jabo. Yeah, tough stuff.
Lewis generally covered TikTok and YouTube drama, usually from a left-leaning, progressive perspective, but his downfall was less to do with...
I would say Louis McClung got massively audience captured into being, like, super far left. Like, he, like, built it... What tends to happen in a lot of these spaces is if you build your platform off endlessly virtue signaling again and again, you are setting yourself to a super high standard, and the more you virtue signal, the higher the standard that becomes. So, essentially, Lewis kept virtue signaling again and again and again, and eventually he got put on this unbelievably high standard. There were a couple of other situations that he fucked up. I think it was like there was a situation with like Blake Lively and then this guy named Pumpkin something. I forget his name, but there were like two situations that Louis McClung fucked up on, but that wasn't really enough to take him down. Then finally the Denki Jabo situation, and then like him making a video on Dream directly after Denki Jabo was just like the straw that broke the camel's back, and Louis just has completely fallen off, and he's just for some reason has just not been able to recover his channel. And I think he lost like over 30 or 40,000 subscribers, which is actually crazy. I almost feel kind of bad that Lewis lost that much following, but at the same time, maybe it's a good learning lesson to be like, hey, maybe you shouldn't build your audience off virtue signaling anymore.
Politics, and more to do with his horrific research, the wild conclusions he drew, and his grandiose demeanor built on all of that.
It's theater kid energy.
So, what made Lewis tick, and why did his audience stop trusting him? Alright, so normally this is the part of the video where I go over the person's history and what they did before YouTube, but with Louis McClung there's barely anything to work with, just some Instagram posts of him playing guitar, posing like a boy and hitting the gym. Props to him though, he looks healthier than 90% of YouTubers, but if we're doing a Louis McClung video...
Honestly, I think Louis is kind of thirst trapping a little bit. I mean, to be fair... Like, I don't know. I feel like if a woman saw that theater kid energy that Lewis had, it's a little bit like, I don't know. It's a little bit embarrassing. It's a little bit cringe. But, you know, at least Lewis has, like, the bodybuilder aesthetic going for him, I guess. So, he's got something to work with, I guess. So, shout-outs to him.
There's only one place to start. To understand Lewis, it's best to start with his biggest drama, and arguably his biggest screw-up. People show their true colours when their back's against the wall, and Lewis's video was the first domino that eventually unravelled his whole career. This whole situation starts with the downfall of I'm Alex, a British commentator with around 2 million subscribers.
Yeah, very well deserved too. I've been preying on I'm Alex's downfall for a while because I fucking hated him for so long. I'm Alex has been responsible for giving so many false allegations to people over the years, and he has like virtue signaled about these false allegations, calling these people abusers, pedophiles, like accusing them of some of the worst shit you can accuse someone of. But finally, Alex then got outed for being an abuser himself, so... Yeah, I mean, can't say it wasn't a long time coming, and he absolutely deserved every bit of that downfall.
Everyone involved in the story used to orbit Alex in some way. Either they were directly connected to him, or they covered the same kind of topics. But this balanced ecosystem completely fell apart when Alex's ex-girlfriend Alice Hez exposed him. She posted a mountain of DMs and recordings showing he was an abusive partner.
Yeah, normally I'm a firm believer of innocent until proven guilty, but the evidence against Alex was pretty fucking overwhelming. Like, it was pretty damning. Like, there were audio recordings, there were video recordings, there were pictures, there were text messages, screenshots. She had all the receipts ready. It was fucking damning. And then I'm Alex didn't respond until like a year later, which is fucking crazy. Now, when somebody responds to allegations, I can understand maybe responding, like maybe taking like a week or 2 weeks to take time to put together your response and receipts. I can understand that. But I'm Alex took like a year to respond. And to me, that communicates guilt. Because like if you truly were innocent, you would have absolutely responded way sooner than just a year.
Including an infamous clip where he threatens to smash her head in with a brick. Alex was subsequently shunned and disappeared from the internet. No update, no statement, nothing. After 6 months of silence, people got curious. Alex was no stranger to controversies that had entirely upended his whole career. Surely he...
It's crazy. You would have thought that, like, people would have fucking stopped, like, associating with him or stopped fucking taking him seriously after he falsely accused, what was it, Slazo and Zaptai of, like, pedophilia, and then, like, a bunch of other things, like sexual assault on Slazo, which all of them turned out to be false. You would think that they would stop accusing, that people would stop taking him seriously after that, but nope, people still enjoyed being around him. It really, what it took was for him to be abusive himself, so massive cognitive dissonance.
Was doing something behind the scenes, talking to someone or working on some secret channel, and that suspicion eventually fell on Jesse, also known as Danky Jabo, a former editor of Alex who had built his own channel afterward. One person was suspicious of Danky Jabo and noticed that he still followed Alex on Instagram. This led to a confrontation that Jesse just shrugged off, so this person then went to another creator, Cataclysm, who tried to confront Jesse privately. When he didn't act the way Katie wanted him to, she then went public with this information, and Lewis McClung would pick up this emerging drama and decided to jump into the story with his own video.
Yeah, dude, it was so fucking cringe. It's like, oh no, he still follows I'm Alex. Now, is it kind of suspicious? Yeah, but is it enough to make an entire fucking hit piece on Danky Jabo? No. It's so, like, weird. It's like, it really does come across like pearl clutching. Like, it's not enough substantially to say that he, like, still supports an abuser or whatever. It's still suspicious, but at the end of the day, like, a follow doesn't really communicate, like, any sort of endorsement or, like, support. So, again, it's just, it seems like these people really wanted to, like, make a slam dunk hit piece, but then when Danky Jabo made his response, he pretty much just, like, flipped the script and the court of public opinion subsequently.
Let's have a look and get a taste for what we're in for.
Welcome back, members of the audience, to just a delightful show. One of my favorites, you reap what you sow. And today, there's a case that needs to be cracked by yours truly.
Like, listen, you literally look at Lewis McClung and you can just tell he's a theater kid. Like, you ever, I've talked about this, I think I've said this before in the past, but you ever just look at somebody and wonder, why the fuck is this person so weird? And then you hear that, oh, they were a theater kid? That makes sense. That's why, that makes a lot of sense. They're a little bit weird, something's a little bit off about them, but then, like, oh, they're a theater kid. It explains everything. I'm just saying.
Detective McClung, on the case.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Ugh, the secondhand embarrassment.
Yeah, it's one of those videos.
This is a situation in the dark, a feud between multiple people that Jesse, aka Danky Jabo or Danky Jabo, has gotten dragged into because of his own idiotic decisions. The accusations against Danky Jabo, aka Jesse, go as follows: lying to your audience, using hateful, derogatory speech towards women, silencing those who are against you, and lying to and manipulating your audience. Those
whoa, Lewis!
Who hold you as sanctity. Honestly, your audience is literally all you have as a YouTuber. That's it.
Not really. I still fucking post regardless of whether I have an audience or not. For all I know, I could get no watch time on some of these videos, and I'm still gonna post them because I love sharing my opinions to the world, and I'm not audience captured anymore, so I don't care. You know, this is why we don't get audience captured. You gotta do it, obviously, like, it's important to make money and everything. A lot of people do YouTube because eventually you can lead to monetization. It is better to do it that way, but it's ideally better to try and, you know, not be too audience captured. And unfortunately, Lewis learned that the hard way.
That's all you have. And to lie to them, to manipulate them, to avoid the truth. Maybe not so much lie, but to silence the truth.
You literally just said that he was lying, though. You said maybe not lie, but, like, you said that they were lying.
It might as well be lying.
Sorry for the time skip.
Might as well be lying. You know, you're not lying, but, you are lying. Got it, Lewis.
I just wanted to spare you from one of the key traits of Lewis's videos, spending the first few minutes giving us a kindergarten-level TED Talk, this time about emotional connections and why lying is bad.
I don't think Toastify understands that Lewis is a theater kid. It's still very cringe, though. I still think the way he, like, does his videos is that, like, he tries to do, like, drama slop theatrics. And that, comes across as very, it's something.
This is a hallmark of a lot of his videos where he kind of just has to explain the basic building blocks. This isn't unique, people have done this before, including me, but not to such an extent that it just goes on and on and on. When he finally gets to his evidence, Lewis starts building a case that Jesse and Alex are secretly connected, because their thumbnails look similar.
Danky Jabbo just so happened to be an editor for I'm Alex, or at least one of his editors at some point in time. You can even tell the blatant mentoring through the exact same thumbnail design. They use the exact same thumbnail design. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just more proof that he mentored him or taught him his ways. This apparently made him feel as though he owed Alex some gratitude. If you ask me, that sounds like you're willingly let somebody manipulate you, but that might just be me.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of mentorship Lewis thinks is required to make a thumbnail with a face, another face, and yellow text. Anyone with Photoshop and 5 minutes could copy that format.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I don't even pay for Photoshop. I use another program. I think it's Pixlr online. It's very easy. I tend to like just go for like simple thumbnails. You know, maybe I should put even more effort into my thumbnails, maybe. But yeah, it's not too difficult. I feel like anybody can do it if they just learn.
In fact, tons of creators copy each other's thumbnails, but apparently in Lewis's mind, that means Jesse was mentored and feels indebted to Alex. There isn't a single piece of proof for this. Is it possible that Jesse's work experience influenced his videos? Yeah, absolutely. But to draw a conclusion that he's somehow I'm Alex's little apprentice off nothing is stupid.
Yeah, it's like saying, oh, they use a similar thumbnails. That means that he is like a little disciple of I'm Alex. Oh my god. It's like, you could tell that like he has absolutely nothing to talk about, and so he just like decided to make this long hit piece on Danky Jabbo just pearl clutching the entire fucking time because he wanted a slam dunk. Just because Danky Jabbo is still following I'm Alex on Instagram. Crazy stuff.
It's Lewis essentially guessing and treating his guesses like facts.
Apparently, and still now, Jesse followed and still follows I'm Alex on Instagram. This is important because one of Alice's...
This is important because this video is a giant nothing burger.
friends decided to reach out to him and ask why, if it was an accident, if he meant to unfollow him, or if he just didn't know what was going on, which was unlikely, and is still unlikely, and is very impossible now. Is there any reason you still follow and work for an abusive piece of They're talking about Alex, and there's nobody else they could be talking about.
We obviously know that he's referring to Cataclysm in this, like, DMs, and Cataclysm also, I don't know, Cataclysm has also been, like, a weird content creator. I don't know how she's doing, I haven't checked in on her, but I do remember that Cataclysm, like, before all this, like, Lewis McClung Danky Jabbo shit, she made, like, a video on Lily Tino, and Lily Tino is an obnoxious person. Don't get me wrong, but like she actually made a video on Lily Tino that was so bad it actually made me feel for Lily Tino more. I'm not even kidding. Like Cataclysm's video was that bad. And she was just like pearl clutching trying to say that like Lily Tino was like into kids or whatever, and it was just like a weird hit piece that she decided to make for some reason. Sorry, I'm just like moving my carpet. Ugh, my carpet was like uneven there, but you get what I'm saying.
Sorry, mate. I'll unfollow the annoying orange right now. So you defend abusers. I'm Alex, and work for them.
That's How did they make that jump? They're like, why do you still follow I'm Alex? And then he makes like some weird joke that's like unrelated. Maybe he didn't even think that he was referring to I'm Alex. Or maybe he didn't think that she was referring to I'm Alex. He just decided to do that, and then you just went to the jump like, oh, so you support abusers. It's literally the same argument for like, oh, hey, you know, I like pancakes. And then the other person says, so does that mean you hate waffles? Like, it's the same fucking thing. Like, how do you make that jump?
And that means they said it there. That means you can't ignore it. I would never defend or support the annoying orange. He gaslights all the fruit in the kitchen. How dare you accuse me of such a thing? What he did is crazy. He made a joke out of a woman's abuse and also the person who he knew and worked with, and he ignored that. And instead...
That's not what he did at all, but okay. That's literally not what he did, bro. It's so, like... the more I watch some of Lewis's old content, the more I start to understand why Lewis kind of fell off. Like, a lot of his audience was not going to be loyal to him for very long. Like, he very clearly was, like, you could tell by watching Lewis that he was super audience captured. And obviously, like, people were constantly looking for slam dunks. And I wouldn't doubt that Lewis probably felt a little bit of pressure to maintain those slam dunks. And so he made this video, fucked that up. And the less slam dunks that he got, the more his audience was going to leave him. I genuinely think that's what happened. Like, he got famous at a young age, he stopped maturing, and then he felt the need to keep making slam dunk content. And a lot of his audience just didn't stick around for that.
Made a joke out of this. This pissed off a lot of people.
Alright, pause. It's at this point where the allegations, if you can call them that, start to roll in. And if you haven't seen this video before, you may be starting to put the pieces together. This is some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen. For most people, it's clear why Danky Jabo isn't taking this seriously. It's over following someone on Instagram, someone who's been inactive for 6 months. They're acting as if Jesse's promoting Alex, when this literally means nothing in the grander scheme of things. It's also clear this claim—
Yeah, like I said, following someone, it could be a sign that you still enjoy that person or you still talk to them. Or it could also be a sign that you just forgot to unfollow or that you weren't really interested. I don't know. Or you're still interested in, like, keeping tabs on them to some capacity. Like, following someone can mean any number of things. That doesn't necessarily mean you endorse what they do. Like,
isn't made in good faith, and you can tell from how much smoke this person comes in with. I get it, I'm Alex did some very bad things. Me and you both, we read the document. But we're doing all this over an Instagram follow, and this message is so loaded to imply that Jesse is somehow complicit with Alex's abuse. All deferred from a follow.
And the problem isn't that he's making this content. The problem is he's making this content, and then this is how he actually treats a case that he is involved with, involving the abuse of a woman. Do you not see the problem there?
I don't see a problem there because none of that exists.
Are you dense? This would be a fair point if this was Alice Hez coming to him about her abuse. Yes, of course that makes sense. That's someone who's come out about a harrowing experience. But it's not that. Jesse isn't making a joke out of Alice's abuse. He's making a joke out of this person's dumbass request. Keep in mind this is still over an Instagram follow over a guy who hasn't been active for 6 months.
Honestly, who would ever support the Annoying Orange past the age of, like, elementary school? Who would ever still do such a silly thing? I don't even know how Annoying Orange is doing. Like, I remember I used to watch them when I was in, like, elementary school. But then I, like, just outgrew them, and I just haven't checked up on them since. I know that they got, like, their own Cartoon Network show, but I heard it didn't really do super well in the grand scheme of things.
And neither of these two have any evidence that could lead to them still working together.
Do you not see the problem there?
Oh, let's be real. Lewis McClung jumped on this bandwagon, and another reason why he jumped on it was because he was kind of fawning over Cataclysm a little bit. He kind of wanted to tap with Cataclysm. like, let's not pretend that he wasn't fawning a little bit over Cataclysm here.
I mean, I'm sure you see the problem. That's why you're ignoring it and suppressing anybody who talks about it. Like,
how is he suppressing anybody who talks about it? Like, he's not stopping you from talking about it. He didn't think you guys were going to make a video on it. He's just, like, he is talking to you guys. Like, how is he suppressing you by making a joke out of it?
Other YouTubers who are in that sphere and who are hearing about it through people like Cataclysm. But Cataclysm was approached by Jessie not too long ago. I think it was also about 5 to 6 months ago when she was approached by Jessie. And Jessie wanted to talk with her, okay? They made similar content. They had similar subcounts. This is her words. And so he asked to call her, which, if you ask me, calling people has a stigma around it for a reason. You can just text people, man. If there's no reason to call, like if it's not urgent or anything, there shouldn't be any reason.
What the hell am I listening to? So Lewis then argues Jesse is suppressing the allegations by ignoring them. As usual, no specifics on who he's ignoring from, just some random nameless YouTubers. He also alludes to requesting a private call as intimidating or threatening. How? I can only assume these two people either have a crippling anxiety to the point they struggle to order pizza over the phone, or this is a stupid exaggeration to make Jesse seem worse. And considering Lewis later publicly challenges Jesse to an interview, I'm gonna go with exaggeration.
So this is my proposition to you, you nuance-lacking goblin.
That was another thing. It's like Lewis was like, hey, the one thing that you lack, Danky Jabo, is nuance. I don't think fucking Lewis understands what nuance means. Like, Lewis McClung's content is the least nuanced content I've ever seen in my entire fucking life. And I just don't think he understands what that word means.
Come on my show. Come on here. I will interview you unbiasedly. There was some kind of air of superiority complex while they were talking. For lack of a better term, he mansplained how to be a better YouTuber to
Oh, he mansplained it. Oh, got it. Thanks, Lewis.
Cataclysm for like 2.5 hours. And then, at the end of those 2 hours, apparently Cataclysm jumped on the opportunity to ask him why
I feel like mansplaining my balls over my table right now.
he said the annoying orange bull, into which he hung up, ran away, and unfollowed her. And later, from
I mean, okay. Like, I just, like, I love how Lewis just, like, pretends like we're supposed to care in this video.
a couple weeks
God, I really forgot how cringe Lewis's content was back in the day. I don't know, I say back in the day, but, like, really, it happened, like, earlier this year, and I kind of remember it like it was yesterday, so it wasn't really that long ago. It's actually kind of scary. If that's how fast time moves, how fast do you think time is going to move in the next few years?
to a couple months after that, they had a text conversation that I would just love to, I'd love to talk about it. Bro, I'm trying to be fair here. Can we call real quick? I know why you want to call. You don't want it to be in text message so that she can't screenshot it, so that she can't prove to the world that you might not do as you preach.
You can just record the fucking Discord call if you really want it to.
Fly back.
Oh my god, this is like, what a pearl clutch. Oh, you want to avoid getting proof. Okay, if he really wanted to avoid getting proof, wouldn't he do it on, like, wouldn't he fucking turn the chat in, like, incognito mode or something on Instagram? That there's, like, a feature you could do, like, dark mode or something on Instagram? Isn't that, like, a thing you can do?
You thought you could just hide around being kind of a quirky, weird dude. You know, somebody you might just call because they don't like the text. No, 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 no. You don't want the chance of there being receipts out there.
Oh my god. You can literally just record the Discord call with, like, OBS or something, or, like, NVIDIA Shadowplay.
That's even more weird. That's even worse.
Has this guy heard of OBS before?
Oh my god. Yeah. Pretty much.
How do you think Alice Hez recorded all those videos of I'm Alex?
Oh my god. That's even worse, dude. You can't just... I'm glad I pieced that together, because I don't think anybody's made that point yet. Yeah, Detective Lewis McClung,
I'm glad that...
Jesus fucking Christ, this guy's so crazy. Like, listen, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's like, I just don't understand how Lewis fucking succeeded as a content creator to begin with. Like, I kind of understand it, but it's like, with how cringe he is, like, how did people sit down and watch this and was like, oh yeah, this is fucking funny and entertaining?
This guy had the foresight to...
It's probably a bunch of other theater kids that, like, also canceled people online. I don't fucking know, dude.
Make a terrible point and then glaze himself. If Detective McClung is on your case, I'm sorry to say, your murderer's getting away. Alright, it's not happening. No one's getting caught. No one's being put in jail. It's over.
Right now I can't, but I'll text you. Okay, oh good. Yeah, my bad for not responding. I just genuinely got caught up. But to be honest, recently I've found it kinda just want to do YouTube for myself and stay away from a lot of the drama side of things. You're a drama YouTuber. What the are you talking about? To be honest, I only unfollowed because I noticed you unfollowed me. I thought that was fair enough from you. According to Cataclysm, she hadn't unfollowed him. I don't know if she has now, but apparently back then she hadn't.
Okay, so through all these clips, all I've heard is Lewis taking Cataclysm's side, and the only evidence that we have is something that directly contradicts a part of Cataclysm's claim, and it's really clear whose side this guy is on.
Police? Bro, I was trying to tell you that the screenshot of the annoying orange stuff, is you blatantly mocking abuse. And you came to me, out of all people who have you, which you clearly had, been on my channel, you'd realize I've been abused too. I'm sorry you've been through that, Katie. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. It's not my place, okay? As somebody who hasn't been abused in a relationship, I will not comment on that. But what I will comment on is that, yeah.
Dude, it's like, it's just like the backpedal thing. He's like, oh, I'm not going to comment on that as somebody who hasn't been abused or whatever, you know? Like, you could tell he's, like, very terrified of getting canceled. Like, right there. He was just, like, so terrified of saying, like, the worst thing of making... Because, like, that's how it is in a lot of these spheres. In a lot of these spheres, if you say the wrong thing, you will literally fucking... Like, you'll take a massive fucking hit. That's what happens when you build your platform off virtue signaling and caving into your audience. And that's what Lewis McClung was constantly doing. I think his downfall was inevitable. Honestly, if it wasn't going to be the Denki Jabo situation, it would have been somebody else. If it wasn't going to be that Dream video, that dog shit video he made on Dream, then it would have been something else. Like, it was only a matter of time before Lewis McClung fucked himself over. It was a really, really, I don't think you would say self-fulfilling prophecy, because self-fulfilling prophecy is something else. It was a prophecy of some kind, though.
Yeah, that's a little stupid of you. you know? To come to somebody and be like, I know how to YouTube better than you. You should ask me questions and we should like call and stuff. Right, well, there's no hard feelings on my end. I'm just gonna put an end to this because it's making me uncomfy. Uncomfy? Really? How about you put yourself in the shoes of somebody who's been abused? Pretty sure that'll be pretty uncomfy, actually.
Amazing. So Katie brings up her experience as an abuse survivor to kind of have a leg up on Jesse, and then Lewis takes that and weaponizes it against him to guilt him into concession. I really don't have to repeat myself, but this all being over a joke about the annoying orange and an Instagram follow is absurd and incredibly hypersensitive. Ironically, it's also really out of touch.
I mean, I really think that they just wanted like a slam dunk to make content off of, because that's really what their content was. It didn't seem like there was a lot to talk about in January, and so they just like wanted to find like a thing to pearl clutch over.
Jesse and Katie are not close friends, so of course someone would be uncomfortable if they were getting confronted and the other person brought up their abuse. He obviously doesn't think the joke is a big deal, which it isn't, but he also understandably doesn't want to argue against an abuse survivor. Thankfully, the allegations part of the video is now over. I hope you've all taken away some seriously heinous information about Danky Jabo.
Yeah, Danky Jabo is like not that serious. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to react to one of Danky Jabo's videos. I think I wound up removing it from the list because there was like other drama to talk about, but I'm pretty sure I was supposed to react to one of his videos at some point. Maybe I will eventually on the channel. I don't know. If he makes like a video that I'm actually interested in, maybe I'll react to one of them, but you know. Haven't really gotten there. I do remember that this situation was really fucking stupid and terminally online.
And we've now hit the classic segment of every bad commentary hit piece, digging up edgy jokes.
But there are a bunch of clips from his actual literal videos, past or new, that he says just some weird things in.
Speaking of out, Gloria from Madagascar is an annoying whose lines consist only of men and ogling men and having sex with men.
Oh man, might be a little bit Asmongold coded to say that, though. I don't know. I guess I don't know Danky Jabo that personally. Maybe he's an Asmongold enjoyer. I don't know.
Oh my god, you can't just suppress your hate for women for 1 second? Hey,
when did he ever... Okay, I'm sorry, Luce. When did he ever give his hatred for women any other time? He said for 1 second he can't just suppress it. When else did he do it? Was it the Cataclysm thing? Because that wasn't really evidence that he hated women there either.
Who made that rule? Who made that like a normal thing that we all agree with? Oh, that's right, nobody did. That's just a weird thing to say. Or maybe this one about Lola Bunny. Just hold on. Just wait till the end of the clip. Just wait. Just give it a second.
Her design is interesting to look at and is animated very impressively in the original Space Jam, especially for the time. And whilst her character at its core is a simple love interest, at least she had a character. In the god-awful sequel, she looks like shit. And I'm not talking about her tits being smaller. I mean her design as a whole is horrendously ugly and boring to look at.
I don't know. Like, I don't know. It definitely gives a little bit of Asmongold vibes, but, like, I'm not taking it too seriously because it's not, like, I don't know. I don't think that's enough to say that, like, he hates women. It's just more like, oh, you know, he's just trying to be, like, funny. I guess it could be communicated in a little bit more, like, better, but, you know, I don't really take that as he hates women. That's not really something that I'm going to run with. It's certainly not worth a fucking pearl clutch hit piece that Lewis McClung did.
Or what? Ah! Oh, God! Sorry, I had to, you know, get that.
He had to bust a nut for Cataclysm there.
Out.
I had to get that. Okay, that was unintentional. That was completely unintentional.
You understand. Why must
I do understand, Lewis. Thank you.
You feel as though you have to make these remarks, okay? I don't understand why you feel you need to say this.
Because it's a joke. It's very obvious that these are meant to be jokes. It's very clear that Lewis is only bringing this up just to back up his incredibly weak claim. And never mind that Lewis made a joke about women in Hollywood being in this same video.
Oh, you gave me my career, but you're going to exploit me for something because of it? Yes, because you owe me. Every woman in Hollywood ever.
Apparently his joke...
It'd be like that in Hollywood sometimes. I guess it's not as much like that with Harvey Weinstein gone, but it's still not great. Hollywood doesn't exactly have the cleanest history.
Fine. Jesse's evidence of a corrupt soul.
That's not good, but more recently, do you know what he said?
Mannerisms, he's so sassy. To all the girls watching this who like sassy men, if this doesn't get your beef curtains in a twist, then I don't know what will.
Oh, yeah, I remember this point. I think Louis McClung said something about, like, beef curtains either being misogynistic or racist or something like that. I don't know. I think he, like, made, like, a point about it. This point was, like, such a nothing burger. Like, I think that it was just, like, he was obviously, like, using, like, a slang term that, like, didn't really mean anything.
So I've been informed that that phrase is a derogatory one rooted in racism and misogyny.
Yeah, how do you, if it actually is true, which I highly doubt it, but if that actually is true, how do you know that Denki Jabba was using it in that context? How do you know that he didn't know if it meant that term either? Does it actually even mean that at all? Alright, according to dictionary.com, beef curtains is a vulgar slang term for the vulva. It's typically used for vaginal lips that are particularly pronounced. Okay, I don't see how this is racist. Maybe, I guess it could be misogynistic, maybe, depending on the context that you use it in, but I personally am not seeing either that much. I guess if you were to say, like, hey, you know, like, don't get your beef curtains in a twist, or is your beef curtains bleeding? Is that why you're saying that or whatever? I guess you could say, like, implying that they're on their period or whatever because they're acting crazy. I guess that could be misogynistic, but even then, like, I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the term beef curtains itself isn't really... I'm not seeing anything, like, super derogatory here, just to be clear. It sounds like Louis McClung is pearl-clutching once again.
I don't know if he knows that, but the only way you would hear this phrase is apparently through pornography or adult media or anything
That's my favorite thing to hear it from.
sexualizing women. Because
Italian woman gets beef curtains fucking penetrated, and that's my favorite. In an alleyway.
I, personally, haven't
Make sure it's a BBW Italian, too. That's, like, better.
actually heard that terminology ever, okay? I have never heard those words used to describe female genitalia, and apparently that was the point. What? Dude, you can't...
Dude, you can't say that, man. Listen, if I'm coming across as a I get it. If you got issues with any of these comments, any of these jokes, fine. More power to you. But after throwing everything at the wall, I simply do not believe that Louis is bringing this up in good faith. Also,
no, absolutely not. And also, I totally get why Toastify is a little bit triggered, because it's like, it makes sense. It's kind of tough to sit through a Louis McClung video and not be triggered, because he's so unserious. It's like a very... And he also did the same thing where he apologized for the Denki Jabba situation, and then he did the same thing with his fucking Dream hit piece, which was absolute utter dog shit.
Since when was the word beef curtains racist? Where did race come into it? Better yet, Louis, what race would that apply to? I'm just curious.
It's important to know that he also censors in different ways. Like, for instance, apparently at the start of one of his videos, he said to his audience to comment down below as if he had done something terrible, because Cataclysm had just released in stories on her Instagram about what he was saying and what he was doing. So to cover it up, he would censor those like Cataclysm who were actually talking about what he was actually doing, and then he would just ignore anything else that seemed like it would actually call him out because everybody else was just following what he asked them to do, which is borderline manipulative and honestly
That's like not even manipulative at all. Oh my god, Louis, no!
insane.
Again, is there any proof that these two events are related? Is there
No.
any context about the video provided?
No.
Maybe it's something about the subject of the video itself?
No, not even that either.
Well, Louis never tells us. Doesn't even tell us the date, or the video, or the clip. Just a random comment as evidence. So that's basically...
It's kind of like that, I forget what her name was, but I think was her name like Bridget or Brianna or something like that? I forget what her name is. Or Brittany? Was that her name? I don't remember. Her name started with a B. She made like a hit piece on Mr. Beast, and her, like literally a majority of her hit piece was, what do the comments say? I'm not even kidding. Like that was like a majority of her hit piece. And I remember looking at that. It's like the same shit that Louis is doing here. Like who gives a fuck about what the comments say? Like what did they actually do that was bad?
The video. Over these 20 minutes or so, we've pretty accurately established that this is just garbage. It's a blatant hit piece built on assumptions, exaggerations, missing context, and conclusions that don't follow from the evidence. The most you could say is that this guy's been a bit of a dick. This really did not need a video on a whole accusation that he's some lying, silencing misogynist. From everything I've been shown, there is just not enough evidence for that. Louis has to stretch the truth, take a Cataclysm side on everything, and view Jesse in the worst light possible at all times to get within the boundaries of his claim. It's a video made with a total disconnect from reality.
let me be Louis McClung here for a second, okay? Not Detective Louis. Do you know what it feels like to see all of these commentary YouTubers dropping like flies? It worries me.
It worries him because he's audience capture. Bro, he kind of looks like the Joker here. I'm the Joker, baby! I'm the Jonkler, motherfucker. Look at him. He looks like the Joker. He kind of looks like the Joker, and then he has like the straps on, kind of like Arthur Fleck in the newer movies. Bro, you can't tell me he doesn't look like the Joker here.
Because, personally...
Do you think Louis McClung would play, like, a good Arthur Fleck in, like, any of the newer Joker movies? He'd probably have to lose the voice a little bit. He'd probably have to get, like, a more depressed voice and, like, put on a deeper voice. He wouldn't be able to put on the... He wouldn't be able to play it with the voice that he has, which I know that's kind of a low blow, and I shouldn't be making fun of somebody's voice, but still. Like, you would need to, like, lower the pitch of your voice just a little bit, but I'm sure actors are trained to do that sort of thing, so I'm sure if you've been in theater... You could do it, Louis. I think with enough training, with enough like putting yourself in that shoes, with enough channeling of the fall off of your channel, I think you could pull it off.
I don't have any skeletons in my closet. I've had a very boring life, okay? I've been a straight edge kid. I've been I was in one musical. I didn't have many friends. I kind of just watched shows, stayed inside, and didn't shower enough as a child. I was a very...
Oh, no, it's theater kid Asmongold. You don't shower. It's terrible stuff, dude.
Individual. Like, I didn't do anything.
That's tough, man.
Okay? But that kind of makes me the perfect YouTuber in a way, even though my life kind of sucked and I suffered with a lot of depression because of it.
I'm not trying to be an asshole. Like, I'm sure that Louis McClung has gone through some struggles in life, but, like, I don't know if... to say my life sucks... Whenever people say my life sucks, like, I think of, like... I don't know. I used to know a guy, and I'm gonna tell this story. I used to know a guy. I don't talk to him as much these days. Not that, like, we fell off or anything. It's just that we've kind of, like, been up to different things in life. But, like, I knew a guy in high school. He was, like, one of my closest friends for a while. And he's been through some rough shit. I'm not going to go into, like, all the details here. But, like, he's been through, like, a really rough childhood growing up. Really rough parents. He would be forced to, like, sleep on grass a lot during the night. It was, like, very, very... There's, like, a whole bunch of other shit that it's not really my place to tell. But, like, I know somebody who's struggled a lot in life. Who's really fucking... he's had to like fight a lot to make it. And whenever I see people who are like sheltered at home, like Louis McClung was and didn't get enough social interaction, that sucks. It's loneliness. I'm not trying to downplay it, but at the same time, like, your life is not as bad as you're making it out to be. Like, I feel like if anything, Louis is kind of like overplaying it just a little bit. It's like, I feel like Louis doesn't really understand how bad it can truly get.
But somehow I still worry that I'm going to be involved with some person and they're going to turn out to be terrible. I only wish what he has brought on himself. Until you clarify whether or not you support an abuser, while also covering almost entirely abusive content, I am sending you directly straight into the fiery, burning layers of loser hell. You will stay there until you confess to what you have done.
I just got, like, a fucking brain aneurysm just watching that. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Despite all this, his video was received very well, and it...
Oh, shit, are we about to get pop a gut here?
Pulled nearly 300,000 views. The Danky Jabo channel started bleeding subscribers, his comments were flooded, and he had to pause his entire upload schedule. On January 11th, Danky Jabo uploaded a 51-minute video basically tearing Louis and Katie's entire narrative apart. He explained that his relationship with Imalix was strictly business, and showed how both Louis and Katie were stretching nothing into evidence.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's like they were desperate to make content. And like, Katie Cataclysm is just like a fucking... I pray to God that she's like picked herself up a little bit, but like she's like an absolute slop tuber that just like pearl clutches. That's like every time I've seen her content. Also, is that a nose ring that I spot? Is that a nose ring or is that a reflection? I don't know. Man, I want to give credit to women that wear nose rings. I really do. But like, you guys are not beating the fucking nose ring theory allegations. You're not giving me any reason to. I hope that, I don't know, man. One day I'll meet a woman with like a nose ring that's like actually badass and cool. I don't know. One day.
He also pointed out that the same people criticizing
I think I know like 1 or 2 people actually off the top of my head now that I'm thinking about it.
him were guilty of the exact things they claimed were suspicious. For example, both Cataclysm and Jake Baz, another of his critics, also used the same thumbnail style as I'm Alex. And Alice Hez, whose abuse was brought up as emotional leverage against Jesse, followed Lewis Buchan, another YouTuber Cataclysm had called out in the past. This is all to show that policing follows is completely pointless. Another thing Lewis and Katie conveniently left out, the person who originally confronted Jesse about following Alex wasn't a friend, colleague, or anyone he knew. It was just some random stranger messaging him out of nowhere. Of course he wasn't going to respond with some formal PR statement.
Oh, okay, interesting. I thought it was Cataclysm that messaged him at first. I guess I got that part wrong. But, like, that's strange. I don't know, like, at that point, why even respond at all? Like, I thought, like, Denki Jabo responded because they saw, oh, hey, another content creator is DMing me. I might as well respond because it's just 2 content creators talking. If it's just a random person on fucking Instagram, why the hell are you even responding to begin with? Bit of a silly goose move on Denki Jabo's part. Again, still not a justifier to make a hit piece on him, but still, like, a bit silly because that's kind of how you, like, open yourself up to some of this shit happening.
Jesse
I guess it's just like a bit of a lesson that Denki Jabo has to take into account going forward.
also goes off on Lewis for saying he was somehow trying to flirt with Cataclysm. I didn't even think about including this clip before, but after seeing Jesse's response...
I actually totally forgot about that. That was like an unironic point that Lewis was trying to make, saying like, oh, he was flirting with Cataclysm. He's trying to have sex with Cataclysm. Wow. That definitely did not happen.
It's honestly insane that Lewis even suggested that. There's literally zero indication from any of the DMs. It's just another baseless reach thrown in to make Jesse look bad.
You should ask me questions and we should like call and stuff. Honestly, it sounds like he was trying to like flirt. I don't know. I don't want to assume or presume.
He definitely was. He added that part in just because he was trying to insinuate that they were flirting.
He might have been
Yeah, like Lewis McClung. Like, when Lewis was, like, doing, like, I don't want to assume, but I'm still going to add this part in the video, and I'm still going to keep it in, even though I've had time. I had to edit this video, and I decided to keep it in post-production. Like, that's Lewis dog whistling that he thinks that they were flirting. That's essentially, that's a dog whistle.
I've been in a relationship now for 2 years. My girlfriend was literally in the room with me as I was on call with Katie, who is also in a relationship. To tell your audience that I might have been trying to flirt with Cataclysm based on absolutely nothing is so deeply inappropriate that I can barely believe you thought this would be a good idea to put in your video. Not only is it obviously completely false...
Can I just say, though, Denki Jabo made such a good response to this. It's like a nearly hour-long video, but, like, Denki Jabo literally just systematically destroyed Cataclysm and Lewis McClung trying to fucking... disproportionately cancel him, which obviously was what the basis of this entire situation was. It literally was 2020 TikTok energy. And I think we need to, like, understand Lewis McClung and Cataclysm, I'm pretty sure, I don't know for certain, but I really wouldn't doubt that they blew up during COVID 2020 TikTok. Because that's what a lot of their energy is. And that's like a thing where a lot of content creators, particularly kids that were my age or a little bit older, blew up during COVID on TikTok. And then they started making tons of content. And once they blew up, like even mid content would blow up. Because like no one was doing anything. People were indoors. They had nothing else to do. So they just went on TikTok all day. And they were just, like, finding, like, content to make videos on. But instead of actually fucking making anything reasonable, they just, like, decided to make slam dunk content. And they didn't really mature once they got famous. And a lot of kids stop maturing when they get famous. That's what happened to Lewis McClung. And then he kept virtue signaling over and over again. He built a very toxic audience of, like, endless virtue signalers. Like, he built an SJW audience. That's really what it, like, comes down to.
But much like everything else in this video, it's based on nothing but your own ignorant and uneducated assumptions. I'm very confused as to why the two of you are acting as though you know me personally. We were never friends, I don't know you, and you definitely don't know me.
Regarding the clips brought up about him, Jesse brings up how pointless their arguments are, and accentuates how these two people are trying to educate him about racism. Jesse would also bring up the latent...
Isn't Denki Jabo himself a black person? I could be totally wrong on that. I don't want to assume, but like I thought he himself was. Is he black? I'm gonna check now. I'm curious. All right, I couldn't find anything on his race online other than the fact that he was from England. That's all that the online information gives. Wow, I guess the car alarm had the answer, but I don't even know what the car alarm says, because I don't speak car alarm. Wow. Literally when I unpause the recording, too.
Hypocrisy in Lewis scolding him for jokes he made 3 years ago, when Lewis had been covering incredibly serious topics and starting them off with incredibly unserious edits.
She was 29, they were 17. Oh, that's kind of fucked up if that's true, but I don't know if I trust Lewis's interpretation of it.
It's
incredibly hypocritical of you to claim that I lack the nuance to run my channel, and that you have all the nuance, class, decency, empathy, and intelligence necessary to put yourself in the shoes of others and cover whatever topics you like. Where exactly was the nuance when you started off your videos on accusations and attempted murder with JoJo's Bizarre Adventure edits? Couple of meaningless jokes that I made 3 years ago somehow prove that I'm a raging misogynist and I don't deserve a career. But you're able to start your video off on accusations like this, and that's all fine and dandy.
Following Jesse's
It's fucking crazy, I know. Yeah, Lewis had a bit of cognitive dissonance there.
video, Lewis responded in probably the worst way imaginable.
Was it a bad response? I don't know, man. Like, I feel like the bigger problem I had with Lewis's response was the fact that he didn't really actually mean anything he said in his response. He kind of just, like, hand-waved it and was like, yeah, you know, I'm sorry, I'll do better, and then he just made his fucking dream video, which pretty much makes this video meaningless. That was the bigger problem that I had.
A live stream, doing a blind reaction to it.
Oh, wait, that's right. Yeah, he did do this, and then he deleted it. I totally forgot about it. He did make, like, an apology video right after this stream. That was the one that I was thinking about. Yeah, no, this stream was, like, really... he tried to, like, freestyle it. He tried to do it the way Papa Gut does it, where he, like, live reacts to shit. I don't know if Louis McClung can do it as well as Papa Gut can. Like, I feel like he's been so used to, like, scripted videos.
And keep in mind, this was Lewis's first livestream ever. Why he thought this was the best strategy is beyond me, but it went exactly as you'd expect. With no chat moderators, the entire chat of 3,000 people devolved into chaos. Lewis had to start modding random channel members on the fly. Notable YouTubers like FPS Diesel and AugieRFC were sending donations critical of him, which
Oh, that's crazy. FPS Diesel was in on this too. I don't really like FPS Diesel personally, because like FPS Diesel got like locked into like Yandere dev content, but I guess he was like critical of it, whatever, I don't know.
she didn't even read. Mods were deleting tons of comments and even super chats. And then there's the actual stream. For 2.5 hours, Lewis is completely outmatched and visibly—
Oh, she does have a nose ring! She does have a nose ring! Man!
shaken. He forgets things he said in his own video, including the jokes where he implied Jesse hates women. He keeps hiding behind "it was just a joke," even though the context of his video makes his intentions painfully obvious. And to make things worse, Cataclysm posted a public apology mid-stream, which only highlights how flimsy their entire narrative was. At least it's nice to know our favorite 300k commentator operates under the Salem Witch Trials rulebook, guilty until proven innocent.
You guys...
Yeah, it's every fucking far left strategy is just guilty until proven innocent. It was kind of like that in my old far left spaces that I used to hang out into, you know? Been there, done that.
are angry, rightfully so, at either or, okay? If you're mad
At either or.
at me, it's totally understandable, but just remember that it was all allegations in the first place. And if nobody talked about it, you guys would have never known that he was innocent.
What kind of a fucking dumb argument is that? You're the one that levied the allegations, idiot. You should have some level of responsibility for it. No one would ever have known about this behavior to begin with. What are you fucking talking about?
If he is.
If it really was allegations, why didn't you make it clear that it was allegations instead of making it a fucking theatrical piece? What are you talking about?
No proof yet.
Lewis says he treated everything as alleged, but did he actually believe—
No, he definitely didn't. He was implying that fucking Denki Jabba was guilty of all these things.
believe that? His tone in the original video is blatantly biased against Jesse. There's nothing neutral about it. Throughout the stream, Lewis is clearly panicking, staying silent, staring at his phone, and obviously sending frantic messages. Then comes—
Yeah, no, he's like, there's no way he should have done this live. Like, he should have responded to this, like, in a separate video or whatever.
one of the worst moments of this entire stream. Lewis suddenly announces mid-stream that he's been sent bad screenshots about Jesse from 3 years ago. No details, no context, no evidence, just a vague threat.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna look at something really quick. So, Where are these messages? Hold on. I have screenshots that somebody sent me. There's no proof, but I do have...
Oh my god. Dude, it's just like he really tried to freestyle this and thought he was going to be able to fucking slam dunk against Denki Jabo like this. It's... Wow. Man... This really was the beginning of the end for Lewis McClung. I really, like, it's very easy to see, like, how the bridge, or how everything around him just, like, sort of collapsed. Not even just the bridge.
Screenshots that somebody sent me. Okay, so Jesse is 21. He's a year older than I am. Yes, I am a baby. There is messages out there. Hold on, let me collect myself. I am not gonna show you guys these. I'm going to talk to Mr. Jabo first. How about that? I'll take his advice, and we will talk. And I'm gonna ask him about these screenshots I have between him and another person that are very concerning. Okay, I'm not gonna show you guys first. These could, if they are not real, if they are they could be life ruining. So I'm not gonna show them.
You cannot convince me this wasn't a desperate last-minute bargaining chip, maybe some sort of blackmail to claw back some credibility. The fact that he thought he could casually bring up another unverified claim about Jesse after everything that had just happened is insane. By the end of the stream, Lewis's entire chat had turned on him. Hard. He even refused to apologize, only saying he was investigating further.
It's crazy, because, like, literally, Lewis, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but Lewis built his entire audience off just slam dunks and virtue signaling. And when finally it wasn't a slam dunk and people saw it for what it was, like, people really... It's like the curtain fell. His own theatrical play that he tried to set up fucking fell. And he just kept getting tomatoes thrown at him. That's a corny theater joke made for you, I guess. Have at it.
Then he took down the stream, then the video, then he uploaded a half-baked apology.
I'm really...
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, I saw this. This was the apology I saw. Again, I totally forgot that he did the fucking live stream where he, like, tried to debunk Denki Jabo.
Sorry. To Jesse, to my audience, to his, to whoever overlaps. I'm sorry for any harm I caused by spreading my ideas as fact. I apologize to all my fans that I hurt.
And also, by the way, I'm gonna do this again with Dream in my next video. Yeah, okay.
By misplacing your trust. And I apologize to everyone who took my word as fact and then acted upon it, and now feels bad about doing so. I will learn from this like there is no tomorrow.
And then he made a fucking Dream hit piece where he does literally the same shit. You can't make it up.
Grow from this instead of letting it become a pattern. I was so dead set on sticking to my upload schedule that I would be negligent of a story and allowing it to grow so that I could then cover it in good faith. From now on, I will only upload videos on subjects where I take the ample time to find proof, as diligently and as long as it takes for me to do so. I will
Yeah, except when it's about Dream.
learn, and I will grow.
In the coming days, Lewis would be the subject of mockery from many because of the way he handled this whole situation. It was definitely harsh, but for a guy well above 300,000 subscribers making such an egregious video, it was fully deserved. It's hard to tell whether the guy's just an idiot or entirely malicious from the way he went about some of these claims. But Lewis was young, relatively new to the platform, this was something he'd apologized for, and now he'd need to go. He didn't learn, did he? He didn't learn. He didn't learn at all. The
Yeah, and then he fucking decided to go after Dream.
very next video that Lewis made was a 40-minute retrospective talking about the problems of the Minecraft YouTuber Dream. This in itself isn't a bad idea. Pivot to a more popular topic, hopefully something that can rope your audience back in.
God, arguably the video he made on Dream is worse than the Denki Jabo video. Like, arguably. And the reason I say that is because the allegations are even more severe, which is grooming, which it really wasn't. Like, if you paid attention to the original Dream allegations, you'd realize how much of a nothing burger it was. Like, at the age of 20, like, the allegation even if the allegations were true about Dream, what he did really wasn't that bad. Like, at worst, he might have been 20 talking to a 17-year-old. Like, oh no. Holy fuck. Oh no. Yeah, like, it actually was not that bad. Like, at worst, if you're not a fan of that age gap, you can be like, hey, listen, I don't really like that age gap. Don't do that again, Dream. I don't really like that. That's the criticism. That's literally it. It's not like oh my god, Dream's like a horrific predator or a groomer or something like that. That's literally the criticism. That's it. You can criticize Dream for that age gap, but, like, the problem is that, like, Lewis is trying to say he's, like, a groomer and a predator. And that's where the problem stems, is that you're running off of basically misinformation or disinformation. Maybe you intended to deceive your audience with it. Who fucking knows at this point?
Rather than hit on the obvious points, Lewis made the terrible decision to cover serious allegations again, and it wasn't in a good way. During his video, he decided to tackle the debunked allegations against Dream, and the whole segment really feels like he wants Dream to be guilty.
Dream himself even clarified that a lot of messages and receipts people showed were him. So you might be thinking, if it looks like grooming and he admits it was him, wasn't it? Before we get to whether it is—
Well, no. Grooming is a very intentional and methodical process of setting typically a child up for typically sexual exploitation.
It isn't. First, the definition of grooming never states that it has to be a child.
Oh my god. See, this is the problem. Like, technically he's not wrong. Like, you can groom adults, but, like, it's extremely rare. Like, the adult would have to be in, like, the intellectual and developmental disability community or whatever. Or that the adult would be, like, groomed into a gang. Or it would be like an Andrew Tate situation where Andrew Tate, like, groomed adults into being his bottom bitch or whatever. Or I guess you could get groomed into religion. I don't fucking know. Like, there's, like, other things. It doesn't always have to be sexual. But usually when people talk about predatory grooming, it's setting up usually a child for usually sexual exploitation. If you look up the definition, that's what it is. I used to hang out in, like, the Dead by Daylight community, and, like, often online, a lot of people in the Dead by Daylight community would always be like, oh, but grooming doesn't always have to be sexual, and it could be at any age. You could groom anybody at any age. Okay, but the problem with that is then you can start applying grooming to whatever the fuck you want. Like, you could literally say a fucking 17-year-old grooms an 18-year-old, or an 18-year-old groomed a fucking 16-year-old or something like that. You could apply grooming to literally anything you want. Or people at the same age as each other could groom each other. I don't fucking know, dude. Like, the problem is that it just sets a really weird standard. And it's really, I'm just so fucking, part of me is still a little bit annoyed that I gave the Dead by Daylight community so much grace, but that's neither here nor there. You know, that is a topic for a different video.
Somebody who uses their power, their presence, their personality to garner some kind of romantic or sexual connection with somebody.
That's literally not what grooming is, dude. Oh my god, the fucking theater kid energy never fails to really show in Lewis's videos.
Or even maybe sometimes just get things from them, physical things like property.
Like property. You groom somebody into getting property. Jesus Christ. What the fuck am I listening to?
Depends.
What? What? This is the broadest definition of grooming I've ever heard. By this definition, everyone is groomed.
It quite literally does say in the definition here, the action of attempting to form a relationship with a child.
It is true that adults can—
We gotta love the Papa Gut cameos in this video, because Papa Gut also had, like, coverage that, like, got a lot of views. I think it's, like, some of his most viewed coverage on his channel.
groomed, but normally that is outside of like a normal sexual dynamic, or the adult is intellectually disabled in some way. But I don't—
Probably, yeah. Like, that's usually how you would groom an adult. Like, you can, but it's extremely rare. And yes, grooming doesn't always have to be sexual, but usually, I would say like 90% of the time when people are talking about grooming, they're talking about predatory grooming. That's really the reality of the matter. And, like, I don't know, like, again, the word doesn't really mean anything online anymore because a lot of kids use it thinking that they understand what the fuck they're talking about, but they don't.
agree with this narrative that grooming can literally be anything. Like, that's ridiculous.
That all of these women, all of these younger women, were 18 when he talked to them. Or if they—
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that the girl Dream was talking to was like 18 anyways, so it didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. But even if the allegation was true that he talked to a 17-year-old at 20, it doesn't matter. Like, again, the biggest criticism someone could give is be like, hey, don't do that. You know, if you really think it's inappropriate. Me personally, I'm not really bothered by that. I don't really care about 3-year age gaps. It's really not that big of a deal. I don't think there's like a drastic maturity difference between a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old. Especially now, given that like so many fucking people are maturing slower, especially after COVID. Like an 18, 19-year-old and a 20-year-old to me, I'm 24 years old, an 18, 19, and 20-year-old is still a kid to me. Like, as far as I'm concerned. Like, they're still very young and they're still learning fucking life. So, like, I honestly I don't give a fuck. I really don't.
weren't, he was only friendly and not strange. No. If you ask me, that doesn't clear his name. Even
Why?
if they're 18, like I just said,
Why?
doesn't mean you can't groom them into being into you. Okay?
Oh my fucking god. Ugh. Groom them into being into you. Lewis, you just described flirting. You literally just described basic flirting that two human beings do to each other. Oh my fucking god, how idiotic.
Okay.
Where's the grooming then? What grooming? What specifically is grooming about that? You need to actually point out what the problematic behavior is specifically. You can't just go, well, they could have groomed them into it. Where's the grooming?
Did you learn nothing from the janky bow bull? What did you learn?
Janky Bo. Papa Gut. I remember Papa Gut was so tilted during this coverage. Like, he got so triggered at Louis McClung. And I think a huge part of him getting triggered was the fact that Louis just learned absolutely nothing, especially considering Papa Gut, like, went on a Discord call with Louis and Cataclysm. And, like, they talked about it, and it seemed like Louis made his apology, and he just learned absolutely fucking nothing after that.
You can, like, this wouldn't be grooming. You don't even know what grooming is.
But apparently, the person who posted this said that it was just cringy, just so cringy and bad. He even sent pictures of his house.
So I'm pretty sure that person, the original allegation was a 17-year-old, 20-year-old. It's, like, really stupid. It, like, really wasn't even that bad.
Weird.
What? No, it's not. It's not even weird.
They need to get away to stop saying weird. Everything is weird. That's weird? What are you talking about?
Yeah, the problem, like, listen, it's okay to say things are weird. Like, I've talked about, I think I recently put out a short of, like, Andrew Wilson. He was giving his take as, like, a 41-year-old why it's okay to date an 18-year-old. And technically, you know, that's not predatory. But I think if a guy who's in his 30s or 40s is dating an 18-year-old, I think that's immature. And I think that screams that, like, wow, you can't attract a woman closer to your age. You have to get with, like, an 18-year-old who's still learning a lot in life. I don't know, dude. That, to me, is very immature. Like, it's technically not predatory. They did consent to it. They are a legal adult at the end of the day. But that's still very weird, right? But the problem is that a lot of people will use the word weird to, like, dog whistle that they're a predator or that they're a groomer. And that's what Louis was kind of, like, doing here. So, that's, you know, that's the problem when a lot of people use the term weird. You know, it depends on the context.
Everybody that flirts and has sexual conversations in private, it's always weird.
He got a legal team involved. He had an entire 1-hour video up on his channel. I think he still does. It cleared his name almost entirely. He got a bunch of people involved to make sure that he cleared his name.
Dude, you just said that he's innocent, but in the same breath, you also said that you can groom someone who is an adult.
You've just remade some of the claims that were made that video debunked.
Dream didn't groom anybody, or at least we don't have any evidence of it, or...
God, I love the fucking plausible deniability language that he's using. We don't have any evidence that Dream did groom people, which means there's a possibility he could have still groomed somebody. We just don't have the evidence of it currently. I love the cowardly plausible deniability language that he's using here.
He covered it all up, and I'm not saying that in bad faith. That happens all the time, okay?
You know what's interesting? I just got a text message from a girl that says that Louis violently her.
But just...
Dude, come on, Papa Gut. Bro, he crashed out a little too hard here in this video. But, I mean, honestly, it was kind of valid because Louis McClung was, like, really fucking... he was being really stupid here. So, totally valid on Papa Gut's part.
Remember that it was all allegations in the first place. And if nobody talked about it, you guys would have never known that he was innocent. He covered it
Oh my god, it's just so stupid.
all up. And I'm not saying that in bad faith. That happens all the time, okay?
I think you're saying it in bad faith, Mr. McClung. Mr. McCunt.
I'm not putting on a...
Sorry, is that a bad word? Am I not supposed to say that word? I know some people think that word's like a little visceral. I know it's not like a slur, but if it's not a word I should be saying, I probably shouldn't have said it. Damn, I don't know.
freaking tinfoil hat like he likes to claim people do.
Then why even, like, imply that? Why say he disproved it in the same breath as saying he may have covered it up? Like, you say it with such, like, oh, man, he wasn't a pedophile. Well, guess I can't call him a pedophile. He may have covered it up, though, which happens all the time. Like, why say that?
Because though I have defended Dream from a lot of things in this video...
When? Wait, I'm sorry.
Oh my god, Mr. Diorio's in this too, aka Mika's Rhetoric's boyfriend. Or Frogan's boyfriend as well. Nicholas, you gotta choose a woman. You gotta pick a struggle with a woman. You can't have your cake and eat it too with multiple women. Come on, Nicholas. Pick a girlfriend.
Alright, was this supposed to be a defense video?
It's very evident that this
Lewis was trying to be like, I defended Dream throughout this whole video. You have not once defended him, ever.
guy wants Dream to be guilty, but due to technicality he can't, and so he has to technically say these allegations are false. Either that or he has no spine and couldn't fathom the idea of
It's cowardly plausible deniability language, that's really what it comes down to.
actually having to argue his point. Case in point, here's him admitting to taking his George Not Found video down because the public opinion had shifted.
Then there was George Not Found. If you know anything about
Oh, great. Literally, the George Not Found stuff was already debunked, and I guess fucking Lewis McClung is just going to be like, oh, but these allegations are true, even though it's literally like Ticklegate. It was like a giant nothing burger.
this situation, again, I had a video up on it, but I decided
for
to
the
get rid of
dono.
it because people like Turkey Tom, or whatever he goes by, Tom Dark. I don't give a lot of people like him who like to call men soy boys and stuff like that when they defend women.
Wait, that's actually so funny that like Turkey Tom wound up reacting to this like piece as well.
To say,
I don't think Lewis was expecting that one.
yeah, but there's no proof of George Not Found being an asshole. Well, let me explain to you what happened. George
So this isn't even the first time you've done this? You did it like a year ago and I just didn't hear about it, dude? You falsely accused someone and I apparently blew you out? If you're so confident in your side, just leave the video up, dude. Don't be a don't be a fucking coward. So what you're telling me is that on one hand, when you falsely accuse someone, you take the video down. But in your eyes, you weren't falsely accusing him. You were actually in the right, but you take the video down anyway because you're a fucking pussy. What is wrong with you? You don't believe in anything. Truly. You believe in nothing. You have no conviction. You're a fucking coward.
Whilst this video received a lot of
Honestly, kind of based of Turkey Tom.
views, mostly due to Dream's recent fight with Tommy Innit, people were outraged that after apologizing, this guy had just learned nothing and given empty promises. It's almost as if the apology to Danky Jabo was just for show, just for public appearances. After his Dream video and the wave of backlash that followed, Lewis McClung took it down and went on what can only be described as an apology tour. He called up a whole roster of critics, either on stream or privately. Papa Gut, Ryan Beard, Turkey Tom,
Papa Gut.
FPS Diesel, Lebrowski, basically everyone who'd made a harsh video on him. And in these call-ins, Lewis comes across as someone genuinely seeking advice. He explains his process, insists he wasn't calling Dream a groomer, and tries to show he's taking the criticism seriously. The problem is that all these interviews blend together. If you've seen one, you've seen them all. Lewis
I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense considering that, like, Lewis, like, obviously he's not going to try to mix it up and say different things. He's going to be, like, trying to get, like, generally the same thing. It's, like, pieces of advice that he can, like, take going into, like, his future with YouTube, which he didn't really take that advice too well, because I thought he did it after the Denki Jabo situation, and then he just made a video on Dream.
comes in extremely polite and borderline submissive, which immediately disarms the interviewer. It's awkward. These creators have roasted him for hours, but once he shows up already defeated, it suddenly feels weird to keep kicking him whilst he's down. Lewis practically self-flagellates, repeatedly saying he deserves the backlash and punishment.
I don't think it's going to be anything negative.
No, I don't. I deserve negative stuff as well, so it's okay.
Yeah, and like I know that there might be like a view differential, but it's temporary.
I deserve it.
Yeah.
It's fine. I feel like I deserve this on many levels, so it's totally fine with me, you know? Though Tom was an ass to me, and I deserved it.
But the interview that really stood out to me was the recent one he did with Goddammit Malcolm.
Wait, there was a recent one that I didn't even, like, catch wind of?
Lewis's most consistent critics. And yes, this interview is only about a month old, and yes, Lewis has changed somewhat since the Danky Jabo fallout, but the pattern is still the same. And while still having to treat him with kid gloves, Malcolm gets to the inignorable core of Lewis's character, as well as the way he's come across in interviews.
You're reflexively telling me what I want to hear in saying, oh, at the time, these were all the things that I was doing wrong. And then you're saying, these are all the things that I do now. And when I ask you specific questions about what you're doing now that's different, that, you know, directly inspire or provokes a feeling of trust in you when you say that you've changed, you tell me the exact same things that you said. You're relying on this third-party research in order to test the validity. I think that you exactly said that I would look at the common consensus to factor this in.
You know, as harsh as, like, the criticisms are against Lewis McClung, and as harsh as, like, we have been, like, critically against him in the past, I don't think he's beyond, like, change. Like, I think that he can do better. I think that he can improve. Obviously, the view differential has lasted for about a year at this point, and he hasn't really been doing super well since. But I think that he can recover eventually. I think that he can build his audience back up if he changes the way he engages with content and doesn't sensationalize literally everything. I think that, like, with more maturity, I feel like Lewis could be a better content creator. But he has to actually, like, put effort into not engaging in it in the way that he used to.
your kind of judgment making and decision process. So you're saying all the right words, but your answers are telling me that you're doing the exact same thing. You're just fluffing it with what other people want to hear.
Malcolm directly calls Lewis a people pleaser, and points out that in these previous interviews, Lewis almost infantilizes himself to avoid criticism, something that perfectly sums up how he acts whenever he's under pressure. His goal is to get the confrontation over with as quickly and painlessly as possible. It's the same way he even seems to write his videos. Malcolm even calls it speedrunning this quote-unquote growth cycle, which is honestly a great description. Lewis was jumping into this apology arc without ever really processing or understanding what he did wrong.
Being wrong is the quickest path to being right. Admitting your wrongs is the quickest path back to being a good person. Righting your wrongs, confessing your wrongs, being true to the people who support you and give you a job and a rent and a career, okay? That is what gives you anything.
Seems like Lewis kind of took that a little too literally and decided to quite literally engage in speedrun strat for his apology tour. So, tough stuff, dude.
Everything. And all you have to do is be truthful.
And that leads to a bigger question. If he didn't learn anything from the Danky Jabo situation, and if the Dream video proves this wasn't where this behavior started, how long has this been going on for? The renewed interest in Lewis McClung's older content kicked off from an August 2024 video about a TikTok/Twitter artist known as Pumpkin the Gentleman.
Oh, yeah. I think I tuned into this situation briefly, but I never really, like, delved too deep into it. This was the person I was referring to at the beginning of the video, by the way, where this was, like, another thing Lewis got wrong. I think Pumpkin the Gentleman was, like, interacting with some people. I think there were allegations of grooming, but I'm pretty sure that the age gap was, like, he was a 17-year-old talking to, like, who he thought was a 15-year-old, but they lied about being 15, and they were actually, like, 12 years old, which is gross, definitely, but if he didn't know the age, like, 17 and 15, I don't really care about too much. And I think another age gap that he was engaging with somebody else was, like, he was 19 and the other person was 17, which is, like, I don't really care about that either. That also means nothing to me.
Time, Pumpkin, an 18-year-old, was facing a wave of varying accusations. Lewis titled his video, I'm
pretty sure there were, like, other allegations as well, but Lewis decided to cover all the stupid allegations and not the ones that were, like, a little more serious.
TikTok artist likes kids a little too much, which gives you a good idea.
Oh my god, the fucking, this fucking dog whistle.
Of where he is going. The video opens with Lewis's usual intro and him reading off a bunch of gross TikToks from random people. None of these posts are from Pumpkin, so it's a weird way to start a video supposedly focused on him. But after about a minute of filler, Lewis finally gets to the point. His first claim is that Pumpkin made sexual art on his 16+ account, exposing minors to suggestive content.
Yeah, and we don't necessarily know if Pumpkin was, like, a minor himself, and then he, like, turned 18. I guess he forgot to change his, like, 16+ to maybe, like, 18+. We don't know that either, because I'm pretty sure we have to remember that, like, Pumpkin was around, like, 17 or 18 years old around this time as well.
Pumpkin acknowledged the criticism, apologized, and raised his content to 18+. But this was still only the start. Next, Lewis says Pumpkin posted a bulge picture when his platform was still 16+.
See, all of that is great. All of that's awesome if you haven't literally tried to justify doing these things, okay? This is the least blurred photo I could find of it, but, you know, I'm sure you can infer what's going on. This image was posted on Gentle Loser's account when it wasn't privated yet. Still,
well, at least Lewis McClung is not stupid enough to fucking spread revenge porn on his goddamn YouTube account. At least he's not that stupid.
16+, well-defined outline of his bulge, okay? And that's not for 16-year-olds, you 19-year-old weirdo.
This is,
I don't really care too much about, like, what was it, like 19, 16? I don't really care too much about 19 and 16, to be honest with you. It's, like, really not that deep to me. Some people could say it's inappropriate, but again, I'm not really too upset by it. Like, I just don't really think it's that deep. Yeah, it doesn't really seem like he was interacting with people in an inappropriate age range. The 17 and 12-year-old allegations would be a lot more damning, I would say, because that, if you look at the DSM-5 definition of pedophilia, that would be, like, actual pedophilia. Like, the DSM-5's definition is, you know, they have to be 16 or older. the age gap has to be 5 years or greater, and that the younger person has to be 13 or under. So a 17-year-old with a 5-year age difference with a 12-year-old, if he knew the age of that person, that would be legitimate pedophilia, if that was real. But it seems like she lied about her age. She lied about being 15 years old. So it was like he was under the assumption it was a 2-year age gap, which that I'm not really too caring about personally.
Just not true. If Lewis took some time into research, he might have found that this picture actually came from Pumpkin's 18+ NSFW account, properly warned, age-gated, and marked with an 18+ emoji in the name. Also, this tweet was deleted soon after, another thing that Lewis doesn't mention. Lewis then claims Pumpkin interacted suggestively with minors on TikTok.
Here are a couple comments of him interacting with minors, like maybe not knowingly, but he didn't bother to check. There was this picture of him, scarfing on some bread with some cream coming out of it, an innuendo, if you will. Here's what a minor said. I'm not gonna read it because that's weird to me.
I passed out a few times, but here's your bread. Why wouldn't you read it? What? You, literally showed it on screen. You're like, I'm not gonna read it, but I'll show it to the rest of my audience for them to read to themselves. Why even bother showing it at all if you're, uncomfortable with it? The fuck?
You can't make me
It's so weird.
do it. I don't want to.
I feel like that's even more weird than just, fucking read. I feel like you made it more weird than it actually was. Just read the fucking, comment that they left. It doesn't mean you're engaging with them.
But then he responded and said, thank you. What is wrong with you? Go to.
What do you mean that's wrong? You literally ran the narrative that, he may not have even known the age. Maybe not knowingly. What? That was what you said.
Hell, specifically loser hell, but we'll save that for later. Here's somebody saying, whose bread is that exactly? A kid responds, weirdly, and then he likes the comment.
Again, there was
God.
no indication that any of these people were minors or that Pumpkin knew they were. Lewis gives the advice that maybe Pumpkin should have looked at their profiles, but even in their profiles, there's no indication of such a thing. Lewis's level of research is he looks at a TikTok screenshot and sees someone labeled with the word kid, and he's like, you know what? Must be a kid. That's it. Case closed. It's over. I'm gonna call this person a pedophile. Lewis escalates.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, the unfortunate reality is we also have to remember, in a lot of these spaces, and he was doing this when he was talking about the Dream allegations as well, where he was, saying, just because you're a big content creator doesn't mean you're only restricted to dating other content creators, because that's what the conversation we're going to talk about as well, is the power dynamic argument, which is another really stupid argument that I just don't understand whenever people talk about it online. What, just because you're a big content creator, does that mean you're not able to date other fucking, your fans? Especially when you're Dream, the only people that are gonna want to date you are your fans. What, just because somebody appreciates you? What, let's just say that, a fellow streamer friend of mine, right, is dating a girl for a while, and he's not even a streamer. They're both, just regular people in the world. What happens if one of them gets famous? They suddenly get tons of followers. Does that mean suddenly there's a power dynamic there? Does that suddenly mean that that they're abusive now all of a sudden because there's a fucking power dynamic that exists with dating a big content creator? At what point do we draw the line here? Please be fucking consistent.
It's by accusing Pumpkin of DMing an alleged 12-year-old with sexual jokes.
He also has an alleged conversation with somebody who is definitely a minor, but the alleged part is that they are 12.
Yeah, so like I said, this would be the more damning allegation I'd be concerned of. Did Pumpkin actually know the age of this minor? Because I think he was 17 when he was interacting with them, which is absolutely, in no world is 12 and 17 appropriate whatsoever. That would be legit pedophilia, but I would need to know, did he know the age when he was interacting with them?
Oh, God. Oh, whoa. Okay, we're jumping from 16 all the way down the ladder to literally a baby. Thank you, Pumpkin. I weirdly want to kiss you. Raise his eyebrow. I mean, is it allowed? Sends a kissing noise. Makes out.
Yeah, he was around 17 years old. It would be really bad. But again, I'm pretty sure that this minor lied about their age and said that they were 15 years old. So this is not as damning.
Okay, don't talk to people like that, especially if they're 12. Grr, give me your censored out. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is censored out. Bro, nah, I'm gonna be canceled and labeled as a P3DO.
That is a weird thing to say. I'm still questioning if he knew that this person was 12 years old, but it's still, like, I thought that they were, I don't know. It's definitely a weird thing to say in DMs, but also if he thought that the age gap was appropriate, if it was like a 17, 15er, I still wouldn't care if the age gap was appropriate.
Oh, running away.
Or if he was under the assumption that it was anyways.
A gassed up emoji. Yeah, buddy. I hate to break it to you. You're gonna be canceled or labeled as a P3DO anyways. Right now. You dirty creep. Ew. Get the hell out. Go away. Go to prison or something. I don't know. Hike your ass somewhere else.
Now, there's a few...
I really don't one thing I really don't understand is when Louis McClung talks about these serious allegations, why the fuck does he have to apply theater kid energy to literally everything? Bro, I could just imagine, like, listen, like, I could just imagine him making a video on, like, the boats in Venezuela being bombed, and then Louis McClung being like, tonight on this play, we are bombing the boats in Venezuela. Enjoy and break a leg. Hopefully those poor Venezuelans didn't break any legs from all those explosions. Crazy stuff, dude.
Things to address here. First of all, these DMs are true. However, this person had lied about their age and said they were 15 during this time. Pumpkin was 17 during these conversations.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so that pretty much confirms what I kind of like knew about this situation, was that he was under the impression that it was 17 and 15. That I don't care about at all.
And there were no personal chats or phone calls. Nothing that would have obviously indicated this person was much younger than they let on. Now, I don't blame Louis for not knowing this. However, I do blame him for his immediate jump to believing these DMs. Without the context we know now, these messages are incredibly cropped. There's no mention of this person's age. Regardless of the result, Louis had no idea if this person was actually 12, and this was just a shot from the hip. Assuming he didn't know this message was fake, it's completely fair to include this in the video if you're speculating. My issue is that Louis is so assertive on calling this person a groomer pedophile.
But again, he is but an example. He is but literally just me showing you that this stuff is happening all over the place, and we have to stay vigilant and diligent to see it, to call people out for it, to hold people accountable, so that the groomer summer of 2024 can go down in history and not continue to be our present.
I'm not saying that Pumpkin the Gentleman is entirely vindicated. I mean, there's a ton of other stuff out there that I need to look into.
Yeah, probably. And that'll likely be a deep dive that I'll do eventually on the channel. Like, if Toastify makes a video on it, I'll be sure to react to it, because I am curious to actually talk about it on the channel. But, you know, it seems to me like the allegations so far are not, like, the most damning. The only, like, damning part is if he knew the age of the 12-year-old and he interacted sexually with her still. That would be very, very damning if he knew. But it doesn't really seem like that's the case. It seems like he thought that it was a reasonable age range, so I'm not really going to hold him to it.
But the important part is what conclusions Louis came to with his research. This evidence, or lack of, was enough for him to call Pumpkin a pedophile, and comparing him to people like Dr. Disrespect and Ava Chris Tyson is incredibly over the top.
Well, a couple things. First of all, Ava Tyson, like, people were so annoying when they were talking about the Ava Tyson situation. I feel like people got so annoying and they, like, overly sensationalized the fuck out of it. The Ava Tyson thing, like, all Ava was doing was interacting with kids that, you know, not to, like, groom them or whatever. There was no grooming. I don't know what to tell you. But there was just no boundaries being put in place, so there was a lot of edgy jokes that were being spread to these kids. Still inappropriate. Again, I don't think Ava Tyson should be a content creator, because you have to be a lot more responsible when handling kids. But if you want to say Ava Tyson's a pedophile because of the whole Lolicon stuff and Shadman stuff and the history with that, that's reasonable. I'm not going to push back against that, because Lolicon's fucking disgusting, and if you have possession of that, you more than likely are a pedophile. I don't see any argument for somebody being into Lolicon and not being attracted to minors. It's fucking weird shit. So if you want to say Ava's a pedophile for that, that's fine. I really am not going to blame you. But again, the actual interactions with the kids themselves, it wasn't grooming. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it was literally just inappropriate jokes that are not life-ruining in a vacuum, but that's really it. You know, like, you shouldn't be a content creator, and it's not good. That's literally it. And then with Dr. Disrespect, I am a little more comfortable saying was predatory. I mean, like, he was 35 interacting with a teenager that we don't even know the age of to this day. They could have been 17 years old, or they could have been like fucking 12. Who knows how old that person was? And either way, it's disgusting as fuck. He was 35 years old, and he wanted to meet up with them at TwitchCon, so it's definitely weird shit. It's not good. He was 35. Bad stuff all around. I would say Dr. Disrespect. I don't know if I'd say Dr. Disrespect is as bad as like EDP, but he's still very disgusting, and I would argue he's probably worse than Ava is.
When the video was first posted, some people pointed out the inaccuracies in the comments, but Lewis pushed back. He even said on Twitter that he was just spreading the allegations because they were already out there. He openly admitted
It's just such an irresponsible way to engage with content. Like, I like, what a weird thing to do. Like, he obviously wanted to, like, make money off of it, and he obviously wanted to, like, look good in front of his audience. That's really it.
he spent a grand total of 4 hours researching, which honestly explains everything. But this video would go down silently, with no apology to Pumpkin the Gentleman. It took 6 more months and a bunch of videos calling him out for Lewis to finally apologize. By then, it was clear this wasn't just one sloppy video. It was part of a larger pattern of bad research and reckless conclusions. And it raises the bigger question, how did he even get to this point of 300,000 subscribers?
I think, like I said, I've said it throughout this entire video, I think Lewis built his audience off of a bunch of SJWs that are, like, very cancel hungry online. That's really what it comes down to. And it was only a matter of time before Lewis couldn't match that energy and people turned on him. That's what happens when you build your, audience off of virtue signaling. That's typically what happens, and you become very audience captured. Lewis succumbed to audience capture. He is the product of a kid who got famous online and couldn't live up to it.
For this entire video, we've been looking into Lewis's flaws, but we never really talked about where he came from. Every YouTuber has that big moment, the video or idea that pushes them into the mainstream. For Lewis, that moment was his video on Freckled Zelda, a TikTok cosplayer with around 7 million followers. Lewis's first video spends the first 3 minutes explaining to us what the Legend of Zelda and cosplaying is. Then he sets up Freckled Zelda's turn towards Christian content.
What the fuck am I looking at? What is this censored pixelated video?
And her disdain for anything she considers unchristian, like
Bro, it looks so weird. Okay. It looked so weird to me.
work. Lewis talks about the backlash from former friends who were burlesque dancers, as well as the general criticism of her Christian posts. Freckled Zelda was then responding with things like, "Only God can cancel me," and praying for people of other religions. 9 minutes in, over halfway, and I've learned barely anything that couldn't be summarized in 4 minutes. Thank God the video is padded out by Lewis repeating the same about how he was digging into the situation for research.
This is what constituted me diving deeper into her content and what people were saying about it. So I did some digging. Oh boy, did I do some digging. I did so much digging, and I found it. I had to go to the depths of Twitter into disgusting comment threads back to back to back until I finally found it. I found it.
Finally, we get to the real allegation.
Here I present to you the group chat messages. But first you gotta read it. This is a group chat, right? This is a group chat of people being very thirsty, very weird, very gross. This is terrible. It is people talking about how they're gonna do explicit things to each other. There are 2 members
Oh no, how do you know that they're not all within a reasonable age range?
of this group chat who are 15 years old.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not good. How old was she at the time?
1, 5, 15. How old is Zelda? Oh, 21.
Ooh, that's pretty fucked up, if that's true. Yeah, that's not good.
Woo-hoo! Uh-oh.
Definitely could be predatory if it's true.
And you know what? I got a whole nother picture. Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah, it's definitely not something you should be sending to 15-year-olds at the age of 21. That's kind of crazy.
There, that's her sending explicit pictures to a 15-year-old.
Oof. Rough, if true.
To 2 15-year-olds, because they're both in the group chat. See that at the top there? Yeah, that's literally her group chat.
I just fucking hate the way Lewis engages with this so much. Like, lose the theater kid energy, dude.
What the hell, Zelda? How do people do this? All those people screaming at the top of their lungs saying that you're a terrible person, posting back-to-back videos about the terrible stuff you're doing because nobody can figure out about it. It's right here. Weirdo, stupid idiot. What the hell's wrong with you? Why would you do this? You know, I've covered a lot of people who have done terrible things, but I've never just had the direct proof. I honestly don't know what to do with myself other than say that this is terrible. You know, she kind of tried to cover it up too, and that's what makes it so much worse, right? She didn't even come out and say, people are trying to cancel me for this and this. Like, I probably wouldn't have looked so hard if she wasn't trying to cover it up so hard, right? I only dug so far into it because I didn't know what people were mad at her for.
Wow, if only you could match that same energy with all the other situations, like the dream situation and the fucking Danky Jabo situation.
I'm still right here, about to cancel you. But the fact that you were doing this...
It was only a matter of time before you were met with that same energy, Lewis. How poetic.
In a group chat with 15...
Is there a Shakespeare play that's like that? Can anyone tell me? Is there like a Shakespeare play where somebody like acts like a fucking knight in shining armor trying to like cancel all these people and seemingly doing a good thing but then is met with that same energy? Is that technically Macbeth? Did I just describe Macbeth? It's been a little while. I need to like review Macbeth again, but it's kind of like Macbeth is kind of like a paradox and self-fulfilling prophecy in that regard. So maybe in a weird way it is kind of like Macbeth.
Year-olds is insane to me. How did you think you were gonna get away with this one? People were mad at you because you were grooming children. Definitely like tag.
All right, well, just I hate to be that guy. It's possible that it could have been grooming. I'm not completely going to write it off. But we have to remember that grooming is a very deep and methodical process of setting typically a child up for typically sexual exploitation. Even if, like, a fucking, like, 30-year-old talks to a 13-year-old, it wouldn't technically be grooming. It'd be disgusting. It'd be pedophilia. It'd be absolutely nasty. But we have to remember that grooming is, like, an additional layer on top of that, where you set up the process to get to that point. That's, like, a conversation that is, like, worth having. And unfortunately, a lot of people just tend to forget it. Like, a grooming isn't just something that just happens. Like, it's a very methodical thing, and it's a very devious process of fucking... It's fucked. It's a really manipulative process. It's intentional.
My comment section, I wanted to see this and, like, panic and stuff, you know?
Okay, wow, this is an incredibly serious allegation that's going on, and Lewis appears to have totally doubled and tripled down on this. Lewis is accusing this person of being a groomer. And hey, this image looks completely crazy. This video would do pretty well, getting Lewis 100,000 views and provoking more accusations from other people. Freckled Zelda was eventually forced to make a response to all these claims. But when it came to the specific claim of grooming, Freckled Zelda revealed something crucial. These censored pictures weren't nude.
Group chat was edited and blurred to make me look like I don't have clothes on to an anime convention, and I shared the photos of my new cosplay to this group chat. These are the original photos, a back picture of the bunny cosplay, and a...
Oh. I mean, I guess that technically makes it a little bit better, but you could still, even with this context in mind, you could still technically make the argument that she was probably still a little bit inappropriate and being a little bit too promiscuous around these children, and, like, trying to, like, thirst trap them. So you could technically still make that argument that, like, this is still not appropriate, but it's still better than, like, full-on nudes, at least, so, okay.
Front picture of the cosplay with a cat sleeping on my lap. The narrative told was I explicitly sent pictures to a 15-year-old when I only shared cosplay pics to a group chat of 5 girls, including me. This group chat included 3 girls my same age that were my close friends at the time, and a 15-year-old girl I was not close with. I did not make this group chat, called Turkey Cemetery.
Wow, so it seems like Lewis failed to do research yet again. He was like, I dug super deep into this. I really tried to dig deep into this. Well, clearly you didn't dig hard enough.
The group chat was not my idea.
You'd think this would be a tragic turn of events for Lewis's whole video. I mean, his big point of the video was wrong in a significant aspect. But instead, Lewis changes the perspective and acts like he never implied she sent nudes and only said they were explicit.
The only thing she proves in this video is that she didn't send nude photos to a 15-year-old. She proved nothing else. But guess...
Oh my god, this is what I'm talking about, dude. It's so... I'm like really trying not to crash out, but it's so hard not to crash out at how fucking utterly stupid Lewis is sometimes. Jesus Christ. It's like, you proved nothing else. Well, actually, it's like, it's a weird shift of the goalposts. That's what I'm talking about. It's just dumb idiot shit. Where he's just like saying that, like, he's shifting the goalpost away from, okay, you know, even though she didn't send nude photos, you didn't disprove that you didn't groom these children. She didn't know who the fuck they were. How like, she wasn't even contacting them. This is so stupid. I'm idiot. It's dumb fucking, like, idiot shit.
What? First line of facts given to me by the glorious Ami is that they never, ever said that she sent nude photos. All they ever said, shown here and here, is that she sent explicit photos. Shown here is one of the people in that group chat saying, hey,
it's weird fucking backpedaling that he's doing. It's like he's actually, like, coping because he realized he got this story wrong too.
We never said they were nude photos. We just said they were explicit.
Dude, it's so fucking frustrating to see this shit because it seems like Lewis has had, like, a massive pattern of behavior of just getting shit wrong. Like, it kind of makes sense why he fell off.
Here are the photos she talked about. Yes, those are—
Lewis, if you want my honest advice, lay off the fucking theater kid energy. It's really not working for you, like, with this, like, whole drama thing. Like, it's just, it really, it's not working out for you. Just lay off the theater kid energy, okay?
very explicit.
Motherfucker, what do you think explicit means? Everyone who hears the word explicit in that context immediately thinks it's something that's way too sexually graphic. Definition of explicit: showing or talking about sex or violence in a very detailed way. No one tell this guy where the letter X in X-rated comes from. Rather than conceding that this isn't explicit, because it isn't, Lewis shifts the goal—
Yeah, it's not explicit. Again, you could still technically make the argument that maybe it was a little bit inappropriate, but even that is still flimsy because she wasn't even talking with the minors. According to her testimony, she wasn't even, like, she didn't even know who the 15-year-old was in that chat. It was just a cosplay she sent to, like, 3 of her other close friends in that group chat. So it's like, okay, wow.
Post and changes his definition of explicit to things I wouldn't send to people under the age of 18.
Shown here are the photos she talked about. Yes, those are very explicit. I would never ever send anything like that in the vicinity of somebody under the age of 18.
Which, yes, you would—
I mean, it's probably responsible to not do that, but, like, again, you're trying to insinuate that the level of that inappropriateness was her trying to send them nudes. And that's what you heavily implied, which is obviously not true, given the proof that we're seeing right in front of our eyes.
probably not send this to people under the age of 18, but it's also not explicit. Let me ask you this: if you think this image is explicit, why are you showing the uncensored version to everyone? What was the point of the blurring if she had clothes on? It's obvious Lewis doesn't want to accept that he perpetuated a lie like this because it'd go against the grain of everyone who hates Freckled Zelda. He'll admit to f***ing up, but in a very sly way.
This is the second photo of that group chat. Yes, she used the other one to prove that she didn't send nude photos, which again, by the way, nobody ever claims she sent nude photos. People just misconstrued it, and I fell victim to that, obviously.
I hate this guy. Rather than holding his hands up and saying, oh, I messed up, my bad, he molds it into, I fell victim to that. Are we seriously saying that? After all your so-called rigorous research and digging into things, this guy was doing no digging. The only digging this guy was doing was in his ass. You can say that Lewis wasn't handling the situation directly, he didn't see the chats beforehand, but as a commentary channel, the type who wants to spread allegations, you've got to take responsibility when those allegations you're backing turn out to have flaws.
Well, Lewis clearly didn't do that.
The thing is, it doesn't even have to be a big grand apology. Assuming that Freckled Zelda knows the person is 15, something we'll get onto in a bit, this is still weird to send to them. You can still acknowledge that you spread misinformation and then make your point. In fact, you actually do so very early into the video with another lie that you spread.
The facts go as follows. She did distasteful conduct around a single 15-year-old. That is something I got wrong in my original video. It was only one. It was not multiple, more than one. It was only one 15-year-old. And it was a 15-year-old boy. I misgendered them. I assumed incorrectly.
Man, don't you just hate it when you accuse someone of being a groomer and then accidentally write in a second victim? I do that all the time, just random 15-year-olds cropping up out of nowhere like whack-a-mole. Now, whilst watching this whole video, I had a question on my mind. If this isn't Freckled Zelda's group chat, did she actually know if this person was 15 or not?
And again, the fact that there was a 15-year-old in there reading that, whom, again, here is proof that she knew that that person was underage.
How? If we read the DM, it says, Also, I added Mads, who is basically my little brother.
I think Lewis McClung tried the River Siver tactic, and what I mean by that is what River Siver would do is he would just, like, show proof very quickly for, like, maybe half a second, like, thinking that you wouldn't read it, and just, he would assume that the audience would just assume, oh, you're arguing in good faith, you're arguing correctly. But instead, it's just when you actually pause to look at the screenshot, it doesn't actually tell you anything. It doesn't actually prove anything in your narrative whatsoever.
Feral Furbies is Maddie, my sibling, Emma is our mutual friend who likes Garfield, and Zelda is Zelda. Nowhere in this screenshot is there any indication of the 15-year-old being actually 15. No mention of age, no mention of him even being a minor. Lewis is seriously arguing that the person calling him my little brother is an obvious indication that he's a minor. Now in the pinned comment, Lewis gives some more clarity on this point. He says, some important clarifications to this video. Freckles said she didn't know this child, but before the group chat was made, she had hung out with them and their sibling. This wasn't a stranger to her, and the entire reason this group chat was created was because they had hung out before, and he was a fan of hers at the time. This does not help my questions. First of all, there's no proof to support this, and secondly, the proof that you've shown directly contradicts this comment. If they had hung out before, and that was the sole reason they made the group chat, why would you have to introduce them in the first place? The DM says, also I added Mads, who is basically my little brother. Why would you have to explain who Mads is if the group chat was made solely because of them? Whilst we're on the subject, here's Lewis accusing Freckled Zelda of sending sexual art to another minor, with no added proof on whether they even are a minor, or if she even knew they were one.
Was that like Lewis's way of like maybe doubling down because he's like, hey, listen, I know I fucked up, so here's this second minor that like I'm not even gonna like show or whatever. I guess we're about to find out.
And specifically, I DM'd her about a image that Ami shared with me of her having a conversation with another minor, unrelated to this entire situation, where she sent a picture, a lewd photo, if you ask me, of a bunch of links randomly to this person.
He doesn't even like prove that they're like underaged at all whatsoever. He doesn't prove anything.
That 4 hours of research number is starting to become more and more believable.
Get wrecked, bozo.
This is the topic that Lewis got his career from, by the way. You don't have to like Freckled Zelda to see that Lewis's research here is god-awful, and he's just entirely dodging responsibility for his mistakes. When you claim that someone shared explicit photos to a minor, and go on a rant for the next 3 minutes about how they're a groomer, people will obviously think that those explicit photos were nude, especially with how the photos are censored. Pretending that people wouldn't think the same is completely delusional or willfully negligent. But hey, this is the same rhetoric that brought you calling the Manny Show a depraved degenerate over copyright striking people. The words depraved degenerate
I'm pretty sure the Manny, like I tuned into the Manny Show stuff, and it turned out that the Manny Show was like working with like a company that was like filing DMCAs towards people that were like stealing content, but they weren't actually trying to DMCA critiques of them, and they actually responded very well, even though the Manny Show is like has made like a lot of very cringe content on TikTok. I'm pretty sure, but they weren't actually trying to like falsely like take down anybody. So even though I'm not a huge fan of their content's cringe, it seems like they did respond fairly well to the situation, so I do have to give some props to them. I do remember very briefly how this situation went.
Thing I'd probably use to describe a pedo, not a copyright striking Obviously, people are going to come to the conclusion from that title alone that he's some sort of sexual deviant. It's just completely manipulative.
Yeah, it's fucking sensationalist. Like, Lewis is obviously trying to get more views, and it backfired.
Now, I can't say for certain whether every single video—
Whoa, Icon! That's me!
Lewis has made suffers from the same issues. If I watched every single Lewis McClung video, I'd probably get a brain hemorrhage or something. What I can say is that if you're interested in a topic Lewis has covered, there's about a 50% chance you'll find a glaring mistake in his coverage. For example, let's take the topic I just covered, Cinnebear. Lewis's video on the Cinnebear and Birdie situation doesn't seem bad. I mean, the bar had been set incredibly low, and Cindy's response was an easy layup. But in one of his points, Lewis makes a really—
Well, I'm pretty sure Cindy, like, yeah, again, like, Cinnebear was, like, sending a ton of fucking, like, comic porn to, like, a 14-year-old at the age of 20. And I'm pretty sure, like, as time goes on, like, at first, I didn't think it was, like, grooming because, like, it's, Cindy was claiming that, hey, I'm not attracted to them or whatever, or, like, I was not trying to set them up for sexual exploitation. But as I never actually took the time to read the DMs for myself, and one day I finally just decided, you know what, I'm curious, how bad are these DMs really? I looked at it, it's pretty rough. It's pretty damn rough. I can't lie. It's like, as time goes on, like, this is absolutely not something you should have been sending to a fucking 14-year-old while you're 20. Like, are you kidding me, dude? That's pretty crazy stuff.
Mistake.
So Cindy released this video titled, "I Am Sorry." It was just a black screen, 2 minutes of straight, "I am a groomer." She admitted to being a groomer. What is she admitting to? Let me show you some screenshots. Let me flash them on screen. Basically, her being weird, taking the OC of this 14-year-old and drawing it with hers, and sexual mannerisms.
In case you're not aware, those are not the right screenshots. None of those were about Eno, the 14-year-old. This is actually about the situation prior. I understand.
Oh, was it the 19 and 17? I know Cindy had allegations of interacting with a 17-year-old at the age of 19. That I don't give a shit about as much. The 20 and 14-year-old one was something I was more concerned with, and that's fucking crazy. It definitely leaned a lot into grooming. I'm not gonna lie. There's a possibility maybe it wasn't, but I'm not ruling it out either, given how they were interacting with them. It definitely it seemed like it was grooming. I'm not gonna lie.
When looking into this,
there's a lot of credibility behind those claims.
Situation, casual viewers would be confused. I mean, there's like 300 pages in total. But if you're a creator, you can tell very easily that both of these separate situations are labeled differently. One of them has an entire document dedicated to their DMs. This is a mistake I've not seen anyone else make covering this situation. To put this in context, even just a robots video doesn't make this mistake. And if I'm giving Jar props, you know you fucked up.
That's crazy.
This segment isn't to say that
fucking Jar he just can't help but keep catching strays. That wasn't the biggest stray he could have caught, but it was still a stray nonetheless, because Jar really set the bar very low.
Every mistake is inexcusable. I've made mistakes, you have, almost everyone has. It happens. But Lewis's mistakes aren't made from overlooking things. It's a pattern of diminished research and laziness coasting off popular opinion. This isn't some isolated slip. Many of Lewis's topics are safe, with obvious public opinions you can take. Lewis's Danky Jabo video was the first real time he took a risk, and it wasn't a calculated one. His method of going about it was the same way he'd applied to multiple other situations. This wasn't a character flaw, this was his character. Only a couple of months after his video on Danky Jabo, Lewis's career had been wiped off the map.
Yeah, no, like, Lewis... Dude, also, he got a haircut and he got, like, new earrings and everything. Bro, Lewis kind of looks like a biker. Like, he completely tried to get a new look. He dropped the theater kid energy and it's still not working. Damn, that's crazy. I guess that's, like, a sign of the kind of audience that he built up.
The effects were visible from the huge drop in average views and loss of subscribers. Of course, Lewis knew this, hence why in some of his call-ins, he was repositioning for a redemption arc. But the problem is that when you want to have a redemption arc, you kind of have to start the redemption first. Lewis had apologized and definitely had some balls for confronting his critics head-on in a livestream, but the things he was apologizing for were just surface level. His coverage of drama didn't really change that much in sense of the levels of accuracy. In the middle of 2025, I'm Alex finally returned with a big response to his ex-girlfriend. Within this video, he takes the opportunity to defend Danky Jabo from Lewis and Cataclysm, just to add another point against Alice Hares. Lewis would obviously cover Alex, though make no note of his comments on the situation he was directly involved in. But as I've said before, Lewis can take easy layups, bad responses that just give you the opportunity to dunk. Or so I thought, because instead of dismissing Alex's terrible response for what it was, Lewis decides to both sides the situation and is far softer on Alex. This is despite the insurmountable evidence that Alice Hares had already posted.
I don't want anybody to go hate in this video. My whole purpose of making this video is to show you how f***ing convoluted this is. It is messed up. It is complicated. There isn't much to go off of except for hearsay and word of mouth, except a video
Heresy!
of Alex saying he's gonna bash his girlfriend's head in with a brick. That's almost the only evidence we have that can be actually proven as important. The rest...
Lewis, you dumb bitch. Are you kidding me? In the Google Doc that Alice drops, there's like 5 videos, one of which is the brick comment, one is him following her around the apartment, screaming at her, calling her the N-word for like 20 minutes. There's the video of him where he called her and was sobbing like a schizophrenic maniac for well over a half an hour, and then there's 2 more videos of him like crashing the fuck out too. Did you even read the Google document? It's like the first page.
I think Lewis McClung just like waits for whatever take is safe to give in his spheres, and then he gives that take. That's it. Like, I don't think Lewis wants to apply as much brain power as he pretends. Like, Lewis is pretentious. Again, I'm gonna just keep saying that, like, he has insane theater kid energy. That's, like, really it. There's not much more nuance than that. You know, it's kind of crazy, you know. The one thing that Lewis lacked was, in fact, nuance.
Content, and a bunch of people will probably watch it. I guess it's good that we know that Alex said what he said, and he might have done more. But now we know too much about their relationship, and stuff like this isn't supposed to be public. And I don't know, I feel like it waters down domestic abuse cases, because they're real. They're bad. They happen all the time, every day.
This waters down domestic abuse cases?
This is, like, about as textbook abuse as you can get. How the fuck are you saying that the whole I'm Alex situation waters down legitimate abuse? Bro, this is how you know this guy has no fucking idea what he's talking about. This is how you know.
Bro, please.
Did Lewis just forget that Alice Hare's already reported this to the police and only went public after they weren't going to pursue it? Ah yes, the casual everyday occurrence of threatening to smash your partner's head in with a brick.
Goddamn mess I've ever covered. Because what am I to say? What is anybody to say about this except for, yeah, Alex still sucks, and Alice probably does too in a different way. Like,
oh my god, what a fucking idiot, dude.
Oh,
why is he going in?
This honestly, in a weird way, makes the Denki Jabo situation even worse, because, like, you were going after... This kind of, like, weirdly self-reports he never actually gave a shit that Denki Jabo was following I'm Alex to begin with. Because, like, he was actively, like, in his original coverage of I'm Alex, trying to downplay the entire situation. So, in a weird way, the Denki Jabo situation is much worse from him. Like, you know that he was being uber performative throughout that entire thing because of this. That's what that tells us. That's what this tells us.
On her. This is insane. We're reading the comments after this. This is nuts, dude. I can't believe this.
believing victims is a good thing, okay? And we should continue to do it. A lot of us just need more caution when we do it, okay? The reason everybody was so inclined to believe Alice is because of that video. That Alex in an hour and 50...
No, it's because she posted all the receipts. If somebody posted just that video, it's like, yeah, this looks terrible. Like, I completely agree, and this guy for real. But she posted, like, a 180-page Google document with all of their conversations of him verbally abusing her, 5 different videos, and an audio clip of him groveling like a little crying bitch. That's what it was. I'm sorry that you are dumb as and you have no idea how to make your own opinion without hearing everybody else in the room speak first.
Would you be shocked to find out that this whole both sides position was also something that a lot of the audience held coming away from I'm Alex's video?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, considering the fact that, like, the I'm Alex response video that he finally made was, like, a lot of people held that position. Because a lot of people, I'm Alex has, like, stan culture. And I've seen this over the years where a lot of young women, I think teenagers, really simped for I'm Alex and they really enjoyed his content. Because I'm Alex also was the kind of content creator that gave slam dunks as well. And so they stan the fuck out of him. So when I'm Alex released his response video, they just were looking for any excuse to defend their content creator because they just liked him that much, you know?
Lewis must have been enchanted by the jingling keys method that
It's kind of like, in a weird way, I'm Alex had, like, his own MAGA
used, flashing up the same 6 screenshots every 10 minutes. Lewis has pretty much been gone after his videos have tanked in views, with his last 2 videos not being able to break the 10,000 mark. Though he's cut his luscious locks and changed to talking about ideas more than specific trends or people, it's not been good. Lewis's most active platform is actually his book review channel of 100 subs. I can at least respect Lewis for how he stepped away and started doing other stuff. He could have just kept going until the sun went down. But the decision to cut your losses and focus on other interests is an ability I don't think a lot of people have, at least in my experience online.
I don't know what's worse, the theater kid aesthetic or the fucking, like, biker aesthetic where Lewis cuts his hair and then, like, got the earrings and shit. I can't tell which one's worse.
That being said,
he kind of reminds me of a typical guy that lives on Staten Island.
I think that Lewis is
That's only a joke that New Yorkers are going to understand.
terrible commentary channel. If you want someone to just reaffirm your opinion on a popular topic, he's alright at that. Sometimes. But the man cannot put together a cohesive original criticism or a hit piece to save his life. His points are terrible, his research is beyond awful in some instances. The guy's stint as a drama channel is pretty much over, because he spent ages tuning his every criticism to what he believed the popular opinion was, bringing out new criticisms just to try and reinforce that. And in the process, several people have been smeared. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay toasty.
Alright, well that was a pretty solid video. Good stuff.